Welcome to Sustain This, a podcast where we discuss mindful consumption, personal style, and the quest for living a more intentional life. I'm Alyssa, a sustainable stylist.
And I'm Christina, a shopaholic turned minimalist-ish.
And I'm Signe, a color consultant and slow fashion style coach.
Together, we will unpack the nuances of what it really means to be a conscious consumer and find more joy in what we have right now. So grab your tea, your coffee, or whatever floats your boat and join us in the conversation. Let's go. Yay.
Yay. Hey everyone, welcome to the podcast. So in today's episode, we are going to be talking about packing light and how to pack for travel in a more minimalist, slow fashion, capsule wardrobe kind of way. You know that we are all about doing more with less but better, and that can really apply to your travel. So in today's podcast episode, Signe, Alyssa, and I are going to be breaking down some really cool packing methods that you can utilize for your next trip because we're in the middle of summer. You guys are going to a lot of really cool places, cooler places than I think I'm going anyway. And I am so excited to be breaking down a really cool packing method that I have never heard of. I think it's going to completely blow your mind. It's called the 5-4-3-2-1 capsule packing method. This is a really cool, intuitive, and simple packing method created by Jen Bozen. So we will leave her linked in the show notes. We're going to go into what to pack, how much to pack, our favorite packing hacks. So be sure you listen to the whole episode. There's going to be a lot of really great, usable, and practical tips and tricks for you. And without further ado, let's get into it. So Signe is actually going away. She's going away for like a month tomorrow. I'm so jealous.
Yeah. I'm not traveling like far away. I'm going to Copenhagen for 10 days. Otherwise, I'm just spending time at home. We have a garden renovation situation going on at the moment. So, we kind of need to figure out what to do with that. But, I am going to Copenhagen for 10 days with my husband and our baby girl. And, I actually already started like prepping for the trip. Like there's a week until we go away. But I like to kind of plan ahead, especially when it's such a short amount of time that you're away. I feel like it's easier to prep and plan for such a trip because the weather, like obviously in Denmark, the weather's changing a lot. So you never fully know with the weather, but it's still somewhat predictable, I think. So I kind of already settled on what I'm going to bring for this trip. And I'm always like, I love packing, like not so much the act of packing and putting it into my suitcase. Like I'm not I'm not doing the KonMari folding method and stuff. Like it's a little bit more chill there, but I love planning. I love planning the outfits that I'm going to wear. I love kind of, figuring out like what I want to wear based on the destination. I kind of like that. So I was kind of browsing like just Pinterest the other day, trying to get some inspiration for summer travel capsules. I love a good travel capsule. I feel like it's a great way to kind of spark creativity, because you have less, and you need to be a little bit more creative with what you then bring.
It's a major, it's like the truest form of like limitation to spark your creativity because I mean, I've made capsule wardrobes where I'm like, oh, I really, really want this piece, but it's not in there. I'm just going to go get it. But when you're traveling, it's like, this is it. It's time
this
to
is what you have.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I love packing light. I feel like it gives you a bigger sense of calm when you're away and makes getting dressed more blissful, kind of like with a capsule wardrobe generally, but you cut even more to the bone. But then I stumbled upon this this visual of something called the 5-4-3-2-1 method. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that.
No, not in packing. I've heard of it through Mel Robbins, who's a therapist. So it's
okay, because I was actually Googling, like, where does it come from? Like, who is the inventor of the 5-4-3-2-1 method? But is it, what can you tell me about, like, what does he say about the?
Oh yeah, so she it's a she. Melanie Robbins, I think. But
okay,
it's basically like it's basically like a method it's a mindfulness method, I would say, a practice where, so if your mind is racing or you're feeling really anxious or you're fixating on something, you just stop yourself and you go 5-4-3-2-1. I'm going to get up and do this, or I'm going to let go of this thought. It's just like a method to get you to slow down and kind of let go or move forward with something that is kind of holding you back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
Would you agree, Alyssa? Sorry, Alyssa, you were like nodding. You know of Mel. Is that about right?
Yes, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Great. I don't want to mislead. That's how I've always understood it. So. Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like I'm not sure if this method is like if it stems from that or where it comes from. Like if if there's a direct like connection to the two. But I do feel like it's it's definitely invented with the purpose of making you more calm and making packing easier, I think. I tried to Google who the inventor of this method is. If any of you watching on YouTube know, please do let us know in the comments. I wasn't able to figure out where it comes from, but I definitely think it's a great technique. It gives you kind of a template for packing, and I think people like templates, especially if you're first getting into capsule wardrobes or minimalism. It's nice to have like a formula or like a specific guideline to help you get started. So of course you don't need to follow it religiously, like especially when you start getting to know how it works. I think you can always break the rules, but I think it's a nice method, and it's a perfect method for packing if you're going away for 1 or 2 weeks. So, and you can alter it so that it fits your unique needs. So just to break it down, you have, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Like, for example, that's gonna be like the main part of what you pack, like the main outfits that you're gonna pack for that specific vacation. So for me, for example, I packed 5 tops, I packed 4 bottoms, 3 pairs of shoes, 2 dresses, and then 1 jacket.
Oh, that is so good. Wow.
Yeah, and then you can kind of, like by putting it into like a formula, it's easier for you to say, okay, well, yeah, so I can pair these separates with each other. I can wear the jacket with that. And then, it's like I'm bringing a classic blazer. And I feel like that's always a nice option to dress any outfit up if I'm going out for dinner. And then, yeah, you can alter it. So let's say you wear dresses more. You can bring 5 dresses instead and then wear 4 tops and 3 bottoms or whatever. Like it's kind of like just a really nice template and a really nice way to get started. I ended up with 15 items.
Wow.
And like obviously you can wear like countless different outfit combos and yeah, then of course I'm bringing like jewelry, I'm bringing some accessories and like other, socks and undies, all of the necessities. But I feel like it's a nice little method for like the main outfits, like for expressing your style while you're away.
I think that is so cool. I'm like, my mind is blown right now. I've never heard of this before.
Amazing.
Yeah, definitely give it. Like I haven't tried it before. We're only going away next week, so I don't know if I'll be disappointed. But like right off the bat, I definitely feel like it made the planning, the planning a lot easier, I think.
Did you do this for yourself and your daughter too? Like
I only did it for myself so far. Yeah, but maybe
I guess it out first. Yeah, I guess with kids kids need like a little bit of a larger capsule because
she has her own suitcase. Yeah. It's a bit more of a, what I try to avoid when packing light is that just in case mindset where you just like overpack and pack too much. That kind of falls behind when I'm packing for my daughter. Like she will definitely need more just in case.
Yeah.
Just in case stains or whatever.
Definitely.
Yeah, but how about you guys? Do you have any like secret tricks or tips when you're traveling?
Well, I know, Alyssa, you've had some super viral packing YouTube videos that I think had a lot of great tidbits in there. I think you did one, CarryOn Only, and then you did one in a backpack, which I think is very cool for short-term trips. Could you talk about that?
That was wild. Yeah, that was, I'm trying to think of what tips I had. It was, for me, the biggest thing is I have to try everything on before I leave, just to try all the different combinations. Like I'm definitely like a learn by doing. But that time I had... What?
Oh, I was just going to say it's giving Cher Horowitz, I don't rely on mirrors, I take Polaroids, like from Clueless. Do you do that?
Yeah. Totally.
It's like my favorite movie
it helps. Is it? Would you say that's your favorite movie?
Clueless, yeah, it's my favorite movie.
Anyways. Yeah, no, so I had to travel for 5 days. I was going from Italy to London, and the only travel option was not even carry-on. It was like one tiny personal luggage. So luckily, I mean, I was traveling from a coldish to a warm, no, the opposite, a warm to a cold climate. My biggest tip, like I wore a lot of stuff on the plane. So I wore like the bulkiest a jacket. I wore the sweater as a scarf, and then I wore a t-shirt. So like I just wearing as much as you can in flight is good, although it does suck at security taking everything off.
yeah.
So you
Yeah.
have to just
Yeah.
right, like you
It's
just
always
have to
like
be
this mad
aware.
rush. I'm always so stressed. Like, I don't want to
Yes,
have to keep people waiting and like
people behind me.
Yeah.
But like so you have to have a method when you're going through security, but it's fine. So yeah, I wore as much as I could on the plane. I tried everything on beforehand, and it was for a wedding too, so I had to pack like
that's
something
a lot
nice.
of different.
Yeah. So I just packed the absolute basic. I packed a button up because that's like the most versatile. I packed the loose fitting, like just a pair of trousers, which were really good for folding. So I would say another tip is to look at your fabrics. I think fabric choice is a huge one when you have to kind of cram and stuff.
Yeah.
I know it's not always easy, but I think when you're planning your capsule, look at fabric choice if you're really having to go tight. And then I would try stuff on, especially if you're going to an event. Try it on so that you know. And actually, I did cheat a little. My mom joined me in the UK, and she brought my bustier with her. So to the wedding, I wore the bustier that she brought, but my plan was if she lost her luggage, I did have I was gonna just wear the button up and the trousers, and it was fine. I'm trying to think, like, what else did I? Trying everything on beforehand was key.
So you had like an outfit for every day. So did you have an itinerary, or was it just like, I know I like to wear this and I'm going to wear it like on a chill day, or you know what I mean? Like,
yes. Yeah. So I knew there was no set itinerary, but there was like, we're going to go for walks here. We're going to go for this lunch. We're going to go help set up at the wedding. We're going to go to like stay in this neighborhood. So knowing sort of which neighborhoods we were staying in and what activities we were doing and was really important. And then what I like to wear for each of those. And I managed to bring 2 pairs of shoes, 1 pair of sneakers and 1 pair of like slingbacks, which I wore to the wedding. Yeah, no, knowing the itinerary for sure. That was a good question, Christina. I think that's it. And fabric choice is huge. And normally, like, I did have to make a lot of sacrifices in terms of like normally I bring my running gear like for 5 days to not go for a run is a lot, but I like there's no way to bring running gear, so I had to.
Did you bring any workout gear, like did you do like Pilates or like anything like?
Yes, actually that's a great question. I just brought a sports bra and a little pair of booty shorts, so when it is super super tight I'll just bring, bless you,
Oh, sorry.
no, it's okay. When it is super tight I'll always still bring sports bra and booty shorts, and then you just do like body weight stuff on the floor or whatever. But that was I think fabric choice was a big one, and knowing your itinerary was a big one, and what you like to wear.
So did it feel tight? Did you feel bored? Like, how did that work out for you?
Great question. No, I was never bored. The key was having layers. I think that was the key. So like in Sina's 5 4 3 2 1, I think having the jacket, like whatever that one piece, I would maybe like I can already see it in my head, like, okay, that's the layering piece perhaps. Or like depending on how you like to dress. Like I think having one layering piece is key. So the sweater was huge. The sweater was worn probably almost every day. And like I don't find that gross. I always bring the little True Earth eco strips, and I like we were staying at a friend's house, so they had laundry. But yeah, I know they're great, but yeah, so I also take laundry into consideration. Like I'll always bring the eco strips, because when you are packing so small, like I think a lot of times you don't feel like your clothes are fresh, and that's what stops you from re-wearing them like every day or every second day. So especially just being able to give them pardon?
Especially in the summer.
In the summer.
Yeah.
Huge. Yes.
Full pit stains.
So being able to do laundry was
Yeah.
key also.
I want to ask both of you, since you're both going to be traveling and packing, is this when you experiment with your style, or do you rely on Old Faithful, or do you do a mix of both? Because I've heard for me personally, when I pack, it's like I am sticking to what I know. This is not the time for experimentation because I just want to be able to grab what I know and feel good and kind of spend my focus and energy on the places that I'm going. I don't want to be worried about what I'm wearing, and like I want to look good and feel good, and I know I have the pieces that I can rely on for that. But I've also heard opposite arguments where it's like, if I'm traveling, this is my chance to be somebody completely different. Nobody knows me. This is a little bit of like a fantasy self-indulgence in like that positive light, in that experimentational sort of way. So when you guys pack / when you have packed, what perspective in terms of style did you take it from?
Can I have I have a story. Can I go
Yeah,
first?
go on.
Well, it's not really a story. I posted about it, but this was such a good question, Christina, and I think I do a little bit of both, but I have to say primarily no, I bring what I know and love and what I'm comfortable in, like because it's otherwise I think you end up regretting it. Like when I went to New York recently, I didn't bring a button-up shirt, and I was like,
yes, I saw this.
remember, like I'm gonna wing it and I'm gonna see it. It's gonna be a challenge. And I was so, I mean, look, okay, there are worse things in life. Like,
Yes.
really, like first, I think we have to like put this in perspective. It's not a big deal. There's still clothes to wear. It's fine.
Yeah.
But I remember opening my suitcase and like getting dressed for the first day. And I was like, man, I wish I had my button up. Like, this is all I feel like wearing right now.
Yeah.
You know, I just would feel good. But on the flip side, it did force me to wear, other pieces that I really loved, and I felt great. And it's not the end of the world. But I err more on the side of bring what you know, bring what you love. But also it's kind of fun when I'm packing. Like I do think it's important to think of your environment, like where you're going, because a big part of it, you do kind of, like Sina's talked about this before, like fashion is also a sense of belonging. And it's kind of nice to take into consideration where you're going, and maybe you can just make little styling tweaks, or like you switch up the color palette depending on where you're going. Like when I was going to London, I was like, I'm just going to do black and white. Like I'm not going to worry about color. Like it's very urban. Everyone's wearing black and white in London. So like I'm cool with it. But had I been going perhaps to like a different destination, like a Portugal or Spain, maybe I would have brought like at least my little Gucci scarf or something, or like, a top with a bit of color.
Is that, I was going to say, is that like a more colorful piece that you have?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I think it's important to do both, but as the base, no, stick with something so that way you can enjoy your destination and not fret over what you're wearing. Those are just my 2 cents.
Yeah.
I'm the same. Like I definitely stick to like what I know and what I know works. And it's not like I'm always packing the same stuff necessarily, like because especially during summer, I feel like that's where, like, I feel like many people have a difference between how they dress during summer and how they dress during autumn winter. Like autumn and winter, I'm a lot more classic. Spring and summer, that's where I tend to go for that slightly more edgy style persona. So like now when I'm looking at because I have made like a little visual overview of my travel capsule for this trip, I can see that it's definitely like casual, edgy, and it would probably look totally different if I was going away on like a city trip during autumn. It would probably be more clean. But yeah, I definitely tend to stick to what I know works for me and what I know makes me feel great and like myself. But yeah, I think I agree. I think it's important to always check in with yourself. Like it's like obviously traveling can be a way of being able to, like you said, Christina, kind of seek your inner fantasy self and try some new things. And I think even if you decide to do that and try wearing something that you wouldn't normally wear, I think it's still important to check in with yourself and ask yourself, but is this like, do I still feel like myself Because otherwise, like, I think it's just gonna, style confidence is really, really important still, like, even if you're traveling.
I think that's where the 3 words can come in handy again. It's like you build it based on your 3 words, but then maybe you inject that modifier, like Signe, you were saying you're more edgy in the summer. Maybe that's how you inject the fantasy self or the modifier of your environment, and see like where you can make those tweaks. That's
Yeah, and I also think like finding that key, like some keywords might be more dominant like for specific travels. Like sometimes it's more of a functional vacation, like a casual vacation. Maybe if it's a work trip and you're going with like a like in a more professional setting, maybe it's going to be more classic and polished. So I think it like checking in with like the specific keywords and figuring out like what to bring, like especially because I feel like and you talked about this, Alyssa, in your video with the 3-word method, that contrasts are like so amazing. And I think like checking in with the contrasts as well. Like, so especially if you have both like casual events for that vacation, but you might also have something that require a little bit more effort. Like, make sure that you don't only pack casual items, that you also have like a few items that you can add into the mix that will make it, polish off the outfits. I feel like the contrasts are really, really important, especially if you're packing light, so that you it just gives you options to dress things up or down. Yeah, to have like those like kind of multi, or like, what do you say, like that, those kind of multifunctional items,
the versatile pieces.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
When you travel, do you ever check luggage, or are you carry-on only?
You're both taking a sip. For our long trip to Europe, we did check because we were traveling with the cat. It was too much. But now,
that's why you had to check luggage, the cat.
Okay, yeah, no, that's a lie. I used him a lot as an excuse. I was like, Apollo needs this. Guys, Apollo needs to travel business class, okay? Yeah. I'm just kidding. That would be like wild. No, never.
I would do it. I would do it for the cat.
Yeah, I would do
the pets take precedent.
Pets take precedence. But no, I do carry on now. Like after that trip to London, that 5 days, I was like, okay, if I can do 5 days in a tiny backpack, like I'm doing carry on all the way. So for Italy for 6 weeks, I'm gonna do carry on.
Oh, that'll be great. So what are your plans for that? How are you gonna pull that off? Let's talk about it. Because I'm strictly carry on only. Like I refuse to check luggage. Yeah. So whether we're gone for like, because I think if you can get a packing method down, and I love this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method. I think this is great, and I think it gives. So, Signe, you said you ended up with like 15 pieces for yourself at the end. I think that is a great amount of clothes for pretty much any amount of time, as long as you have laundry. So if you're going for a longer period of time, laundry is definitely key. Carry on only and like a personal item. For me personally, I've never needed more than that. It just works.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. Do you bring the same pieces every time, Christina, or do you try and like change it up?
The way I do it is it depends where I'm going. So definitely I will pack for the weather first and then consider what we're going to be doing. Like last year we went to Victoria, BC. A couple of years ago we went to we did London, Paris, and Amsterdam, and that was in the fall. So like it was like late October, so it was fairly cold. So that, considering if you're going to be going to a colder climate, like you give yourself some grace. You may need to pack a little heavier than you would if you were going to like Portugal or, Spain or somewhere very, very warm, somewhere in the Caribbean, etc. So there's definitely that. But for us in general, like we tend to do a lot of the same things when we travel. So just like a lot of walking around, restaurants, museums, things like that. Like we're not doing anything too niche or crazy. So I find I can generally bring very similar pieces, very similar outfits. And then it's just like the layering that changes with that. What about you, Signe? Was that all carry on only for Copenhagen?
Yeah, we're driving. So,
it's good.
Yeah. But usually my husband and I actually just shared like the same suitcase.
Whoa.
And then we have like, yeah, it's like a big suitcase. But yeah, then we have like our toiletries in a separate bag, and then our daughter has her own little mini suitcase as well. But yeah, when you're driving, you have the option to like pack whatever.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know if this question is pertinent. It's more just like, do you find the more space you have, though, the more space you take? I always find that tough with road
You
trips.
wanna
It's
fill
like,
it up.
oh, we're driving.
Yeah,
so just fill
yeah.
it up.
Mhm.
Definitely,
How do you not
think
fall into that trap?
that like just in case
Yeah.
trap. Yeah, I think, yeah, we definitely like pack up the car, but it's because like we have the stroller and stuff that take up a lot of space. So like we have some big things in like this specific period of our lives, so we just have like there's only so much we can put into the trunk anyway. But yeah, definitely sometimes I think like we need to like stop and like ask ourselves, do we really need to bring it? Because we'll just have to deal with it when we get home. Like, do we really want to do that? Is it really necessary? Especially this time, because we're not living in a like hotel or something. We're apartment sitting, so we'll have access to everything we need. Like, we don't need to bring any much else on our clothes, basically. So yeah.
Here's the eternal debate: folding or rolling your clothes.
Yeah. I'm excited to hear from you guys what you do.
Oh, I'm a KonMari folder. I do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I find it. I mean, okay, your stuff's gonna wrinkle no matter what. So
Yeah.
have a steamer.
100%.
You can get a little hand steamer that you can bring with you, or a lot of times, like, Airbnbs, hotels will have that. So, I just let that go a little bit. Like in the past year, I just discovered packing cubes. And they are glorious. I never got it for so long because I'm just like, why would I buy stuff to put more stuff in to put in my suitcase when all the stuff is going in my suitcase anyway? But it's just great. It like compartmentalizes things really well. It keeps things really nice and organized, and you can fit quite a lot. Like you can fit quite a lot in each cube. They're very they're handy. They're really, really great. So definitely check out a packing cube or a few of them if you haven't tried that yet, because they're just like, and it's just so easy. Like if you have to open up your suitcase at security for whatever reason, like where things are. It's just if something spills, then like your stuff's protected. It's good. Great invention.
Yeah.
Signe, do you use them?
I feel like I'm a little bit of a rebellious packer. Like that's where I'm not so organized. I feel like I'm organized in so many other areas, but like packing, I think it's because I like packing hangers, and then I always pack my steamer. So I'm one of those people that as soon as I get there, I will unpack everything and like build my little wardrobe and make sure everything is like organized when I get there.
Nice.
So I don't worry so much about it being organized in the suitcase. I think that's always where I'm kind of like slagging a little bit. But I do appreciate what you said, Christina. Like if you have to open your suitcase in the middle of security, that it's nice that you have everything kind of protected. So I definitely see the idea of packing cubes, and I do use them for stuff like tech gear or for shoes, like for protecting my my clothes from getting dirty. But yeah, I'm not the most neat packer, I have to say. I'm not. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
What do you do about shoes? Like, depending on where you're going, it's like, I feel like a lot of people get stuck on the shoe because it's like, oh, this is where I can like have a lot of fun with, I can wear like heels, or I need sandals, and I need walking shoes, and I need flats. And, I feel like the shoes can get out of hand. Like in the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, how many shoes did you pack / did they have a guideline on shoes?
Three pairs of shoes. Yeah.
That's
one
good.
pair of sneakers.
That's solid.
Yeah. One pair of sneakers, one pair of sandals, which are kind of a dressy but still a casual, comfortable sandal, and then one pair of heels for like evening. Because I feel like one pair of heels, like I actually only brought like 2 dressy items, like the blazer and the heels, and I feel like those 2 items can really like transform any outfit from day to night.
Yes.
Yeah,
totally.
Oh, that's a great point. So I think it's almost like, I really like the idea of packing from a perspective of not necessarily like, yes, you can plan your outfits, but it's like, I know that I use this pair of shoes to dress up an outfit. It's like thinking of your almost like the elements of style that you talk about, Alyssa, or like using your clothes as a tool. It's like what purpose does this thing serve within now this capsule? So like maybe I'll bring like a cotton t-shirt, which is very, very casual. And when I pair that with sneakers, it's going to be a super casual outfit, but I have an option. Like I'll bring a blazer or I'll bring like some really cool jewelry to sort of, again, like how you say, transform that outfit.
How about you, Alyssa? Are you folding or rolling when you're traveling?
It depends. You know what? It depends on the garment. Like, I know that everything does wrinkle, but it'll depend on, I feel like jeans are less bulky when they're folded. Like, they lie perfectly flat at the bottom of the thing. So I'll fold denim, but then if I have like slinky little tank tops, I'll roll those and I'll like stick them in a shoe or like shove them in a corner. Like, it depends.
Yeah.
It's like Tetris, you know? It's like, again,
Totally.
like, how can I manipulate the clothing so that it suits my needs best? So like I'll fold and roll depending on how much room I have and stuff. But I did use packing cubes when we were doing our big travel for the big suitcases, and they were very helpful because we did have more stuff than usual. But for carry-on, I've never had to. So that's an interesting point. Yeah. But I also like packing like a week before. I know we kind of like I don't know, Signe, you said you have like another week to go, and I think you already like started thinking. So it could be like by nature of us being content creators, maybe we also like get to plan our content and do our stuff at the same time. But I find setting it out at least a week, 2 weeks before, and then like I've said this before in videos, I just let like my subconscious like handle it. And then it just like sits. And then like every day I'll go and I'll like tweak it and I'll try something on. I'll be like, you know what? Because then I think you start to train your brain to be like, okay, if I only had these 15 items, say, then you can start to train your brain to think, okay, well, if I was here and I didn't have X with me, what could I use instead? Because you're always asking yourself, what can I use instead? What do I have that'll work? And in the end, you always end up finding something. Like with 15 items, you end up just thinking more creatively before you even set off, and you feel more confident once you get there. You're like, no, I'm fine. The just in case worry kind of disappears when you've given yourself that confidence before leaving, I think. Yeah. But I know that takes time.
I love how it almost turns into like a practice, like a slow fashion mindset, almost. Like it's like, obviously it's something that you're going to benefit from when you're going traveling, but I feel like it's something you can definitely like adopt into generally how you look at your wardrobe and how you plan your daily outfits. And like, it's definitely like a mindset you can practice.
Totally. It's a mini test. It's like a little mini exercise. Like use it as a fun challenge, but don't not bring your favorite best.
Yes.
But just to prove to yourself how far you can actually do with less. Like I think that's something anyone can benefit from.
Do you ever find like, because I find when I pack, mind you, like we're not huge travelers, but we would do a lot of like cottage weekends and stuff. And I would bring like Jeff and my partner found that every time we went, we would just start packing less and less, because literally we would wear the same thing the whole weekend. Like obviously change your socks, obviously change your underwear, but it's like I'm like in the same pair of jean shorts, or like the same, maybe like I'll bring 2 t-shirts because, you know, smelly summer sweat vibes. But like just I find when I'm traveling or away for weekends or whatever it is, like outfit repeating takes, like it's kicked up to 11 kind of thing. It's very like I put it into overdrive. So do you ever find that like you pack all these different options, and even Alyssa, you plan your outfits, but it's like, oh, I'm just going to wear, like, do you end up wearing more pieces more often? And or basically I'll reframe the question. Do you end up not using some of the things that you packed?
On my most recent trips, no, I have to say I wore everything. I wore everything.
Good for you. I love it.
Yeah. Signe, you?
I mean, like for this specific trip, for example, I've packed a pair of heels, and they're definitely like just in case, because I'm going to be in Copenhagen. What if we're going to go to like a nice restaurant? But at the same time, it's like we have our 3-year-old daughter. Like, how many nice restaurants are we going to go eating at? So might not even be able to wear those at all. But I'm also currently trying to challenge myself to wear nicer outfits, because I know how amazing I feel when I do it, and kind of stop myself from not wearing things because, oh, what if I ruin them? But it's way worse to have all of these nice things and not wear them. So it's like, I'm really trying to like challenge myself. But I think the pair of heels that I'm bringing will definitely be like one of those pairs of shoes that I probably won't wear. Yep. But they're nice to have just in case. I think as long as you don't have too many of those kind of items.
Yeah, because it can get difficult. And I mean, that's definitely probably where you might end up not wearing things. Like, I just find for me, pragmatism, I find just takes over a lot of the time when I'm traveling, or even when I'm going out to dinner or whatever it is, because like it's like half the time we're walking there, and you know, there's just a lot of like practicality sort of encompasses a lot of like what we do, at least. But interesting. So guys, I hope that some of these tips and mindsets in terms of packing have helped you. And if you are traveling anywhere and you're watching this on YouTube, leave us a comment down below and let us know where you're going. And if you have any packing tips that you can share in the comments, because sharing is caring. Don't forget to leave this video a like too, and subscribe, share it with your friends. It is a great way you can help support us on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Ciao.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining in our conversation this week. If you're enjoying the show, we'd love it if you subscribe to the podcast on Spotify and Apple and leave us a rating and review. It's one of the best ways to support the Sustain This podcast at zero cost to you.
We're also a community-led podcast, so if you have any questions for us, topic requests, or even guests you want to hear from, please send us a DM on Instagram at sustainthis_podcast. We read all of our comments and look forward to hearing from you.
We hope you join us again next Tuesday, where we'll talk about so much more than clothes. Ciao!